last week how inspectors appointed federally went inside the jail to get a look at conditions after a number of complaints. Well, those inspectors reported inmates in medical isolation didn't have clean clothes, bed sheets, or even cleaning supplies. A group of inmates and a separate group of correctional officers sued the D.C. government as a result.
And it affects not just the people who are confined, the residents of those facilities, but staff members and the broader community.
Now, there's around 1,400 inmates inside the D.C. jail. D.C. Corrections reports one inmate and one staff member died of COVID-19 last week. Well, one D.C. council member